When people achieve meaningful health benefits and weight loss with obesity medication, the question often comes up: can I reduce my treatment dose? Reasons for wanting to reduce the dose are often related to cost. Other times, people just want to know if they can have the same benefit with less medication. Note that if the reason is because of side effects, then a dose reduction should be considered until you're free of side effects. Most often, when people try reducing the dose, we tend to see some weight regain and some regression of health benefits in the clinic. But we haven't had any clinical trial data to address this important real life clinical question until now. The Surmount Maintain study, just published in The Lancet, is the first completed randomized controlled clinical trial designed to evaluate whether weight and health benefits can be maintained if you decrease the dose of GLP-1 medication, in this case, the dual GLP-1 GIP receptor agonist tirzepatide, also called Zepbound or Mounjaro. The study enrolled 441 people to receive tirzepatide for a 60-week weight loss phase. At that point, 378 people who had completed that phase on tirzepatide 10 or 15 milligrams, which we'll call the high dose group, and had a loss of at least 5% weight were randomized to continue the same dose of tirzepatide, reduced to 5 milligrams weekly, or switch to placebo for a year. Before we get into the results, here's a key point. Starting at week 24, if 50% of weight loss during the initial 60-week phase was regained, people could receive rescue tirzepatide therapy, meaning that the placebo group would get tirzepatide started, the tirzepatide 5 milligram group would get a dose increase, a very patient-centric protocol, which I love, it's great. People who were randomized to continue max dose tirzepatide or high dose, 10 or 15 milligrams, 15 being the max, but regaining weight despite being on that high dose would receive an additional placebo tirzepatide in order to maintain blinding so that no one knew what they were actually taking. So at the very start of the study, the average baseline BMI was 40.1 and the mean baseline weight was 113.8 kilos. The weight loss after the entire 112-week study was 21.9% with high dose 10 or 15 milligrams tirzepatide, 16.6% weight loss in the group who had their dose reduced to 5 milligrams, and 9.9% weight loss in the group switched to placebo. But it's really important to point out that 25% of the tirzepatide 5 milligram group, the low dose group, received rescue therapy, meaning they had their dose increased. 67% of the placebo group received rescue therapy, meaning that tirzepatide was started partway through. Improvements in metabolic health were sustained in the group who continued the higher doses of tirzepatide as expected, while those who reduced the 5 milligram dose maintained clinically meaningful benefits, but to a lesser extent. The placebo group, as we expect, this isn't new news, they experienced regression of weight benefits along with weight regain. In people who had reached a weight plateau during the initial 60-week weight loss phase, 80% or greater weight reduction was maintained in 77.5% of people treated with ongoing higher dose tirzepatide, 10 or 15 milligrams, in 42% of those treated with low dose tirzepatide, 5 milligrams, and 10.4% of those treated with placebo at week 112. There were no new safety concerns with tirzepatide in the study. The 5 milligram group appeared to have fewer gastrointestinal side effects, suggesting better tolerability with the lower dose. So the bottom line here is that this study shows that after successful weight loss with higher dose tirzepatide, Zepbound Mounjaro, 10 or 15 milligrams weekly, reducing the dose to 5 milligrams results in some weight regain and some regression of health benefits. And this confirms what we most often see in clinical practice when a dose reduction is attempted. These findings underscore once again that continued treatment is needed for continued health benefits and to keep the weight off. As a disclaimer, I am and have been involved in clinical trials of tirzepatide. I receive honoraria as a continuing medical education speaker and consultant from the makers of tirzepatide, which is Eli Lilly.